There is a tsunami coming for the Bordelon family, and it has a name called Blessings and Blood. Let's talk about Queen Sugar. Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to KRS TV. This is your boy Kenny, and this is Queen Sugar Season 4, Episode 1, and the name of this episode is Pleasure is Black. This was a great episode, and I am so excited that Queen Sugar is back. It's one of my favorite shows to review. I am a huge fan of this show. Shout out to Ava DuVernay, the cast and crew, Oprah Winfrey. I mean, this show is a very much important show for the black community, as well as for black entrepreneurs like myself. You know, it's a show of inspiration. It's a show about family. But then again, there's a whole bunch of mess, because we saw in season 3, it ended with the wedding of Vi and Hollywood. We were all loving, you know, that scene. But we all knew that it was just a calm before the storm. And it's more than a storm. It's a damn tsunami. So let me begin. First, I'm going to talk about Nova. Nova is doing this video interview about her new memoir called Blessings and Blood. And she's saying that, you know, being an American is a beautiful thing. But, you know, with beauty comes pain. And our pain comes from all of the secrets that we bear, and that our secrets are what's killing us. And she says that my truth, I'm offering my truth as a sacrifice so we all can be free. But then again, it ain't just hers, it's the whole entire family and everyone connected to it. So afterwards, we see that afterwards, you know, she talks to her publicist and everything, and you know, her publicist is like, your family knows about the book, don't they? And she was like, you know, they know about the book, they have no idea about the content of the book. See, this is where you fucked up, Nova, because the fact that you were writing about your family, you should have talked to them and got permission and consent. But she knew she wasn't going to get it, so she just read the book, and she literally hid it from the family. So I'm already like, season 4 is going to be insane, because all of these dark secrets are going to come back, and they're going to rear its ugly head on everyone involved. And, you know, but then, like, you know, her publicist is saying it's going to be the great American novel. You know, this is groundbreaking. Her editor, you know, says that, you know, they want to interview her for the, you know, New York Times book club and all of that. So Nova's career is skyrocketing, but yet it's going to be a demise, you know, when it comes to her family relations once this book, you know, hits the airwaves. So that's enough for Nova for now. Now I'm going to talk about Charley. Charley is been having this great summer of love and relaxation with Romero. Y'all remember Romero's the doctor from the hospital, and the two of them have connected. They're getting massages. You know, she's talking about that, wow, I'm so enjoying myself, but I have to get back to work. Harvest season is coming in, because, you know, she's the head of Queen Sugar, the mill. And then she says that her son Micah's coming home soon. So Micah, I think, is overseas, and he's supposed to be coming home soon. And next you know, we see after the masseuse leaves, daggone Romero gets up and starts getting some oils and starts massaging her. And he was saying that no more talk of the outside. And he's speaking in Spanish, and she's speaking Spanish back, and I was like, yes. I was so here for this. I mean, I love all kind of relationships, you know, straight relationships. You know, love is love in my book. So it was great to see Charley be in this good space, because Charley is always in the middle of some mess. And trust me, it's definitely going to hit the waves with Charley, and I'm going to get to that. But it was great to see her have this great moment with Romero, because she had been through so much with other men in her life, meaning her ex-husband Davis West, also with Remy's old trifling ass. But it's great that now she has a guy that's really into her. And then also Jacob Boudreaux, that was another crazy situation. And once she kind of smoked him out, she was done. But then she kind of tells Romero that that's what I like about you, that you're loving, you're kind, and you're patient, and all of that. And, you know, so obviously they haven't done the deed yet, but they've been spending a lot of time together, and it's clear that the chemistry is strong between the two of them. So next, I'm going to talk about Aunt Vi. Aunt Vi is at the outside market, homegrown market, that is. I'm sorry, and she's, you know, she now has her new diner, and also the home for Vi's Prize Pies. She's, you know, shopping and coming up with different cuisines because, you know, her and Hollywood have been traveling, you know, since the wedding. They spent their honeymoon in Thailand, and they just been living the dream. She's now getting exposed to another side of the world, and she now wants to kind of, you know, she's developed her palate, and she wants to now start adding some of these unique cuisines to her menu. And, you know, pretty much they're going to call the space Vi's Prize Pies and Diner. So, and I am so happy to see this, because this goes to show you that you can find success at any age. Success is not defined by your age. It's defined by your work ethic and your determination. And me being an entrepreneur myself, I take my hat off to this, because this should be a true inspiration to entrepreneurs like myself and many others who are trying to build their own platform and trying to establish their own, you know, their own institutions. You know, this was true inspiration, and this should be a wake-up call to the black community to respect and honor entrepreneurship, instead of not supporting them and railroading them to get them to get a regular job. Because in all honesty, the entrepreneur has multiple jobs, and a lot of times you're working throughout the night and throughout the days, and sometimes you work in hours. You don't punch in and out of a clock. An entrepreneur works all the time. So I really love that Vi in her 60s is finally getting the gold mine that she truly deserves. So here we go. Next I'm going to talk about Ralph Angel. We see that you know, Benny is still working with him, and Benny actually looked clean. Like, you can definitely tell, you know, Benny is coming to his own. He's working the fields. Mr. Ignacio is working there too. And we see that Prosper comes with a letter, because he said it was a letter that was important that came at the house. I wanted you to get it. And he's saying that this is awesome that you decided to harvest 800 acres. You've actually achieved it. And he opens the letter and he reads it. His parole is now concluded. So now he no longer is going to be getting, you know, visits from Mr. Hayes. So, and pretty much Prosper's like, this is great. You free now. You know, that's your daddy. The sun is shining on you, bruh. You know, he's looking down on you. And then we see that Prosper goes off, and then next we see that Ralph Angel starts running, and he just starts screaming like, ah! I was like, because from the previews, it looked like Ralph Angel was mad. But no, he was yelling for joy and giving praise that he is now free. He is no longer a part of the system. His parole is done. He is now a free man, and he can actually continue to live his life. And I was so happy for Ralph Angel in this moment, because we've seen him from 3 seasons being under parole. And tell you the truth, if it wasn't for Aunt Vi getting rid of all that, stolen stuff that he had in that shed, his ass would have been back in jail. And it's just great that not only did he have support around him, but he focused on the prize and he kept going, and he made do. And I was just so happy to see my boy Ralph Angel celebrate his victory of finally beating his probation, and now he's free to live his life and continue to love his son and do what he needs to do. So then we're getting the actual grand opening of Vi's Prize Pies and Diner. They do the traditional, Louisiana, parade with the umbrellas and the handkerchiefs, and they were literally doing their thing. It really felt great, and Hollywood gives a crown. He puts a crown on her head because she's a queen. And I'm like, there you go. That's what black men are supposed to do. Respect your queens and honor them. And she pretty much says, I want to thank God. I want to thank my ancestors. And shout out to my good friend Jean-Pierre Cornell, because we had a conversation about our ancestors and how our ancestors worked through us. And I was really moved by this because I was like, it immediately made me think of him. So shout out to you, Jean-Pierre. One love. And I was just so moved by that scene. And the importance of respecting and honoring our ancestors is a very powerful thing. And also the fact that she is now coming to her own in the diner that she used to work in for probably $7 or $8 an hour. She now owns it. Look at God and look at success. Beautiful thing. And then we see that they have the grand opening. Blue has a little stand in there called Blue's Corner where he sells snacks and chips and stuff, and he is working it. And I was like, that was so cool, getting Blue into that entrepreneurial drive at an early age. I thought it was phenomenal. It just made me smile from ear to ear. And then we see Charley while at the grand opening. She runs into Isabel, who's a councilwoman, and she's up for re-election, and she's also there to celebrate Vi, and she also brought a gift from Francis Boudreaux, because, and Charley says that, look, because of my position, I'm not able to be at the board meetings, but I do get my check, and, we good. I get my money and all of that, but I'm not able to make any decisions because I'm not a part of the board. But then Miss Isabel pretty much says that Francis is funding her re-election campaign and even is paying for her new consultant. And then she immediately says that she's going to go and talk to Vi. And when Isabel walked away, Charley was like... I was like, Charley immediately started sensing the bullshit. Oh, she done bought this bitch, so we know at the end of the day whose side. If things were to go left, we know whose side Miss Isabel's gonna be on, because she's trying to get reelected, and the Boudreaux have got money swimming in her campaign. And then we see Ralph Angel, and we see that his parole officer Kevin comes, and his cop friend Twan, he shows up, and they talk to him that, you're about to come into harvest, and you need to hire more workers to help you work into the land. But he says that, look, I got enough people, I'm good. And he was saying that, but the thing is, more than anybody how important it is to be given a second chance. This is your way of paying your pops back for not giving up on you. So some of this is hitting Ralph Angel, and he's kind of taking it in. But Ralph Angel ain't, because even though he brought Benny on, we saw last season Benny was doing a whole lot of shit. Like when he brought all those reckless motherfuckers up in Ralph Angel's house, and Darla went the fuck off, because they were just doing all kind of shit, drinking and cutting up and shit, and she's bringing Blue home, and this is what's going on in his house. And Ralph Angel was completely blindsided by the whole thing. So then, while Ralph Angel is talking to Kevin and Twine, Darla shows up. He acknowledges her, and she comes to get Blue, and he goes to Aunt Vi's to he goes to Aunt Vi's office to get his overnight bag, and she goes to Vi and says congratulations, and Vi says thank you, and you can definitely tell the tension is still there between Vi, Hollywood, and Darla. And she was like, so after she gave the gift, Vi told her thank you, and she was like, well, there's a plate you want to take home if you want, help yourself. And she was like, I will, thank you. And she walked away, and Ralph Angel caught it, and he was like, come on, like, you ain't gotta be like that, Aunt Vi. And she says that, look, she's we spoke, and I said hi, and I told her thank you, and I told her she can make a play if she want to play. Like, what more do you want? He was like, come on, she's trying. We both working hard to raise Blue together. And she was like, well, if you call raising, passing Blue around like a slice of day-old bread, that ain't gonna win you no parenting awards. I was like, whoa. She's like, day-old bread. She's like, yeah, I said what I said. Love you. I'm like, Aunt Vi is not playing, because she done been through a lot dealing with Ralph Angel and Darla in regards to Blue. So, and due to the fact that last season, the aftermath after Darla dropped that bomb about Blue not being his kid, and now they actually know the truth. They definitely looking at Darla like, yeah, we good, but bitch, we really don't fuck with you like that. And that's pretty much what it was given. And then we see that Ralph Angel and Darla have a conversation, and she asks, can you take Blue for one of my dates next week? She got a date. And he was like, well, hey, you free to do what you do. No problem, I got you. I'll take him. And we can definitely tell that Ralph Angel feels some kind of way, because it's obvious he's still in love with Darla. And, it's just that because so much happened, it's going to take a while for them to get back to that. I mean, he's forgiven, but he ain't forgotten. And you can never forget after something like that goes down. But I'm happy that Darla has moved on with her life, and she looks great, and she stayed clean, and she's doing the best to be a good mother to Blue. So Darla gets thumbs up for me, because it was good seeing Darla. I like seeing Darla in this positive light. And then also we Hollywood tells Vi that Boogie's cousin Junior gonna be singing for you, and he can sing. And we get to meet Buzzy's cousins. We get to meet Buzzy's cousin named Junior, and Junior is played by the iconic, one of the best voices of all time, and I am talking about none other than Tevin Campbell. And he sung Amazing Grace, and I'm like, Tevin Campbell still got it, y'all. And I was so happy to see him on Queen Sugar. He looked good. He was singing, just smiling ear to ear. I was like, wow. I was just so happy to see Tevin Campbell, because I'm a huge fan. I'm a singer too, and he's definitely one of my big inspirations. Love his voice, and I'm a true fan of his. And it was just so great to see Tevin do his thing. So, like, shout out to you, Tevin Campbell. Keep winning, baby. And I was just so happy to see Tevin on this episode. It really made me happy. Then we see that Nova's there. Nova is actually talking to one of the ladies who owns one of the ladies who has our farm. She was saying that, my sister, I got a sister in New York. She's saying that that your book about to come out in 2 weeks. And Nova mentions that she's going to be going on a book tour very soon. And she's like, so what's the book about? And Nova's like, well, I guess you're just going to have to buy a copy and find out. Hollywood clocked it, because Hollywood immediately clocked the bullshit. He's like, something ain't right with this shit. So here it is, when they go in the back, because she pretty much is looking for a pie that Phi wants. Hollywood was like, yo, what's going on with you in this book? Why are you being so secretive about it? You ain't never been secretive about anything you wrote before. So the fact that you keeping secrets, it's obvious something ain't right with this damn book. And he asked her, what's in the book? And he was like, do you know what? And he immediately started to put it together like, do you know what this is gonna do to Aunt Vi? And he said that, look, I took a vow to that woman that I would make her happy, hell or high water, and I stand true to that at all costs. And Nova's like, it's like that? And Holly was like, oh hell yeah, it's like that. Because if 25% of the secrets that I know are in that book, we need to be prepared. And you at least owe us that. And I completely agree with Hollywood. Hollywood is my king of the show. I tip my hat to Hollywood, because Hollywood is my dude. Love him down. So then after that, we see later on Nova's in bed, kind of sleeping, and she's having a sweet dream and an ugly nightmare all rolled into one. So we actually see that as kids, Nova, Charley, and Ralph Angel are playing with each other, and all of a sudden, Nova's like, I always play fair, and then Charlie's like, really, Nova? I was like, wow, they got them down. And you got Ralph Angel being a little boy like, come on guys, you're not playing fair, let me play. Like, it was just like, Ralph Angel being a little brother, being being like playing around with his two older sisters. It was everything. And then while they was running as kids, Nova falls, and then she rises up, and then we see them, she's now an adult, and then we see Charley and Ralph Angel, and they are giving her evil stares. So it's kind of was like the nightmare that what you're about to do is going to turn your family against you, and they are going to look at you with disdain, anger, and disgust. And that woke her up, which I said, an ugly nightmare. So then Charley, we see she's Romero is cooking dinner for her. They talk about they had such a great time this summer, but harvest is about to start. Micah's coming home, and he admits that, I know it's a big deal about me introducing your son. I understand that. And she says that, that's what I love about you. You're very thoughtful, and we're just living for the moment, and we'll see how things progress. And she was saying that, oh yes, and I'm about to get an award. And he was like, from where? And she said, the boss woman of NOLA. And she's like, wow, that's hot. She's like, oh really? You like a woman in charge? She's like, yeah. She's like, well, get back to work then. I was like, it was just too cute seeing the two of them. I love Romero. So far, so good is Romero. I'm team Romero right now. He ain't did nothing fucked up yet, so we got to keep watching to see, will this relationship progress, or will it fall apart. So then we see Ralph Angels with Blue. He's playing football. He's throwing a football with Blue, and he tells Blue to go for a long, go for the long one. He throws it. Blue doesn't catch it, but this little girl named Joie catches it, and her and Blue go back and forth. She's like, give me my ball back. And she's like, well, you should have catched it, Butterfingers. And he's like, give me my ball back. And she says, won't you take it? And then her mother said, give the boy his ball back. You need to stop acting like that. And he was saying, then she was like, hey, you want to play fight? And he was like, why don't we go to the bouncy thing instead? And I was like, Blue ain't here for the bullshit. And I was so here for it. But it just goes to show that both of them, Joie is a girl, but she's very aggressive like a boy, whereas Blue is very, calm and chill. So it's like they both are just polar opposites, but she agreed to go jump in, and then we meet her mother. Her name is Disha. She's from the I think she's from the Bahamas, I think. And we see that her and Ralph Angel instantly click. So it looks like Ralph Angel may have a love interest too. And here it is. She has a child who she says a lot of girls don't want to play with her because she's so rough. And he says that, look, my son plays with a baby doll. And he says that, look, kids like toys. Toys are toy. It is what it is. And she was very admired of how calm and how open he was to accepting his son. And we can definitely see that there's gonna be something there between Dina and Ralph, with Disha and Ralph Angel, because they both are dealing with kids. We have we have Blue, who likes to play with dolls and is very calm and very chill, and then we got Joie, Disha's daughter, who's very rough and wants to kind of play with the boys. She's a tomboy. So I'm like, this is really cool. And they both got kids, so they both know what it's like to be a parent and have a child that's different. So I'm ready to see how that's going to play out with them. So then we see that while Charley is handling things at the mill or whatever, she's waiting for the Johnsons to call her back. Nova comes in, she tells that, tonight she's going to go to the Boss of Nola event, and she kind of lets her know that my book is coming out soon. She congratulates Nova, hugs her, but Nova knows that a storm is on the horizon. As I said, I ain't going to call it a storm. A tsunami is over the horizon. So then we see that Nova sneaks into Vi's office at Vi's Prize Pies and leaves a draft of her book there. And she also left a draft at Charley's house as well. And then she goes to see Ralph Angel, and she says that, I got to copy my book. I'm going to leave it on the desk. You can just check it out on your own time whenever you feel like reading it. And he's like, okay, I'll check it out eventually. And while she's doing it, she sees a picture of Ernest, their father, and she tears up and she puts the book, Blessing in Blood, on the desk. And I'm just like, man, this is going to be some shit. And then we see that Ralph Angel and Blue have a moment. Blue does a picture of Vi's Prize Pies, and he says that I'm proud of it. And he says you should be proud of it. And then he tells Blue that I got a letter from the government. I'm done with my parole. He was like, you remember Mr. I was saying Mr. Hayes. Forgive me. His last name was Jarvis. Mr. Jarvis, Kevin Jarvis. He was saying that you remember Mr. Jarvis? That was my parole officer, and I passed the test. I don't have to. I'm now free. I'm no longer under parole anymore. And he was like, good job, Pop. I really love Blue and Ralph Angel's relationship. It's such a beautiful representation of father and son. And then we get one of the shockers of this episode. Charley is being recognized by the boss woman of NOLA. She is the first black woman to own her own mill, Queen Sugar, and she's being given the Groundbreaker of the Year award, which is a very huge accomplishment. But while she's giving up her acceptance speech, she's interrupted by this reporter from the New Orleans Daily News, and she was so rude and out of order. I was like, oh, this trifling bitch was fishing for a story and wanted to embarrass and humiliate Charley. I literally wanted to beat her ass because she was just all rude with it. And she pretty much says that, well, I want to let you know that there's an advanced copy of Nova's book, and there was revealing, in this book, she reveals some disturbing information about you during and after your ex-husband's sex scandal. actions against, Melita Galadian, about how you paid her millions to keep quiet about her being set up to be sexually assaulted by your ex-husband. First of all, the bitch was disrespectful when she called her Bordelon West, knowing damn well that her and Davis are divorced and West is no longer her last name. So I'm like, oh yeah, this bitch was messy as fuck, and she was gonna get a story hell or high water. And while she's saying all of this, all the women in the place are kind of like gagged, like, what? Oh my god, I can't believe this. Literally embarrassed Charley in front of everybody. And then she says that, well, people say anything. She says, oh, so your sister is just anything now? And she says she also mentions that you are a tragic example of Americans' women complicit role in perpetuating gender inequality and rape culture. And then she says, this is the price to pay to be a part of patriarchal capitalism. I mean, Nova went in on Charley in that damn book and literally was embarrassed publicly on a night that she was supposed to be celebrated. She was literally blindsided and embarrassed. And I was like, Nova, you are a dirty motherfucker for this. And when she gets home, she pretty much is downing glasses of wine. She pretty much reads the copy, and it just infuriates her more. Then Charley calls Right Angel. He was saying that, what's going on, Charley? It's real early in the morning. She's like, I know, I've been up all night. Did you get a copy of Nova's book? And he was like, yeah, it's on the desk. And she says, do not read it. I want us to talk about it first before you read it. But do not read it. I'm on my way there. We're gonna talk first before we read this. Do not read it yet. So we see that she reaches out to Olivia, who's pretty much one of her, the woman that was helping her get information about the Bordelons and the Boudreaux. I mean, not the Bordelons. What was their last name? The Landrys and the Boudreaux. There we go. Sorry about that. And she was like the one last season that was doing all the digging for her. She tries to talk to her. She leaves a message for Olivia about leaving a cease and desist against her sister in this book. And then we see that Hollywood at Vi's Prize Pies and Diner goes into Vi's office, and he sees a copy, and he starts reading it in the part when she's talking about Vi, and he says that, if anything, being a strong black woman is something that comes to mind when I think about my Aunt Violet, a strong woman who lived her life being anything but that. I was like, oh, Violet is going to fuck you up. And then we see Ralph Angel didn't listen to Charley and starts reading the book. And then it talks about, it discusses in the book about Blue not being his biological child, and we see that it just moves Ralph to tears, and he throws the book down. And I'm like, Charley told your ass not to read it. But I'm like, wow. And then at the end of the episode, we see Charley goes to her father's gravesite, and she pretty much, I'm afraid, because I don't think anybody's gonna fully understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. But I want us to see better and to be better. I had a lot of secrets throughout my life, and so did you. I want us to be free as you wanted us to be, and give me your strength to see me through this. Yeah, honey, you gonna need it, because you have literally brought a tsunami, and it's gonna hit everybody that's attached. I think even probably Remy as well as Darla's in that book as well. So this book is going to be a catastrophic, attack on everyone involved in the family, even associates. So that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow me on all of my social platforms. I have them all listed in the description box. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I will be back with the next episode of Queen Sugar. So until next time, everybody, take care.